How to use internet, social media, e-commerce as an opportunity for trade fair business. We have amongst us the moderator of this panel discussion, Mr. Michael Mandel, COO Reed Exhibition India. We have our panelists with us, Mr. Ashish Jhalani, founder e-tailing India. We also have Mr. Naidu Darapaneni, founder and CEO, MeraEvents.com. We have Mr. Abhay Bhatia, founder, Proshalize, realize the crucial needs for improving the quality of B2B marketing that was digital place in India. And we also have amongst us Mr. Harish Tiberwala, joint COO, Social Wavelength.
So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Slightly delayed. I'm happy to open this panel discussion. Nevertheless, I think it was a very interesting presentation this morning, also from Chief Minister. So being here in Hyderabad, I've learned that it's one of the high-tech cities. I think so. It's an appropriate place to have this panel discussion about social media, e-business, to be placed here. I'm very happy to have a couple of subject matter experts here on board, who can give you a really in-depth view in the social media and the e-business world. What I suggest in the first round, I want to do an introduction round and then just ask my colleagues here on the panel to give a brief snapshot what they are doing and how they can contribute to make social media, which I think is everybody's talking about, but probably not everybody understands or really fully understands what social media is for, to give a brief snapshot how they can contribute to translate that into a language that everybody understands. So maybe I just want to pass on to my colleagues and maybe just go through the round here, and then maybe you can give a snapshot introduction.
Again, I think the intro was done. My name is Ashish Jhalani. I run a company called e-tailing India. Basically, we're a knowledge platform for e-com. We do conferences, exhibitions, seminars, research, training, all kinds of stuff. What we're going to try to do when we get to the panel in the next set is talk about how we have been using social media to kind of market our exhibitions and conferences, and what do we see in India. And again, it's a little bit different of how it works in India versus outside. So we'll kind of give that view as we work in the panel.
I'm Harish Tibrewala, joint CEO, Social Wavelength. And I want to share my thoughts in terms of how social media can be relevant to people who are exhibition organizers. And typically, if I look at the challenge from your perspective, the challenge is that A, you want to talk to a very segmented set of people, and B, you talk to them at certain frequency, maybe once a year, once in 2 years, 2 times a year. And to me, social media is like a boon that comes for people from your category. Social media is predominantly a brand loyalty tool as well as a brand advocacy tool. What do I mean when I say a brand advocacy tool? People who are your existing customers, can you get them to say good things about your product, about your event, about your exhibition, which in turn helps you attract more people at the next event. And that is where social media works brilliantly. We actually saw a case study which was done by your company in France, where they motivated visitors who came for an exhibition to go back and create a video of their own about what did they feel about the event. And lots of people created the video. A couple of videos actually became very, very viral. So it became like a brand advocacy medium. If at this platform itself, they announce a contest saying that everybody who has come here, go and create a 5-minute video of what did you feel about this event. And top 5 videos get like an iPhone. You'll have 500 videos getting created. And maybe 5 people win it. But there are 500 videos out there created by consumers talking about the exhibition. And who will view these videos? Your friends, your acquaintances, your professional network. So you are actually the carrier of the brand message. So social media is really a brand advocacy tool plus a brand loyalty tool. Somebody comes to your event once, how do you ensure you remain top of mind with him till the time he comes again? That really is the power of LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and everything put together.
Yeah, my name is Naidu Darapaneni. I run a company called MeraEvents.com. I'm coming with a background of almost 15 to 16 years of IT experience, and I know this is a very unorganized sector. When last 5-6 years I've been working on this industry. The idea behind this is, instead of every company spending time, money, energy in creating the applications or to make their jobs easier, in whether it is promotion of it, whether it is marketing, whether it is tools to engage the people. So instead of everybody spending the money, we come up with an idea where, as a company, we have already spent $1 million investment for the last 5 years for the event industry, dedicated and focused on that. And we built multiple products, which is, starting from end-to-end technology solutions to manage your event better, to engage your customers better, and things like that. So which I would share my ideas and, how this can help you at a low cost per event model, instead of you spending maybe, at 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs to develop the technology your own, and every company doing that. Instead, one platform where you could actually access all these in a very easier manner.
Hi guys, my name is Abhay Bhatia, and for the last year and a half, I've been sort of working with some of you in the audience. We were providing a suite of, right from digital marketing to social media to email marketing to event apps. But today I've just come here to drive a message that social media is probably the cheapest way of marketing, and it's the most targeted way of marketing. And the message which I want to give all of you all is, whenever your events are going on, start thinking of marketing of it 11 months in advance and not just 1 or 2 months in advance. So hopefully we'll be having that sort of discussion. And I've also worked with CII, and there are a couple of case studies which we've sort of developed over the last 1 year about how possible it is to make sure you know who exactly your customer is and the probability of this customer actually buying into your sort of exhibition or trade show. Thanks.
So thanks. So thanks for the introduction round. What we have structured the panel right now like this, that I'm going to ask a couple of questions to these guys out of an organizer's view. Feel free, if you have any questions, related questions, to interrupt or just to jump in. We have some mics around here somewhere where you can ask your questions as well. I would like to ask a first question to my colleagues here. As an exhibition organizer, exhibition organizers are relationship brokers, which are basically simply bringing together physically demand and supply. So how can an organizer become a trusted broker of digital content via Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, over the whole year within the industry he's engaged with?
I'll go ahead first. So that's fine, right? The way we need to look at this issue is that your exhibition or your trade show has to become that one place where that industry's dialogue is taking place. You cannot rely on traditional print media or other printed magazines in ensuring that the information about the industry is being passed on to their prospect exhibitors. Rather than just, starting the marketing exercise 3 months before, saying that, budgets are not enough, your website or your property needs to become that hot zone wherein industry updates, new policy announcements, etc. are taking place on that website itself. See, after all, social media is just a tool. The tool is the cheapest tool to make sure that your prospect customers know about you and they remember you from time to time. So the idea is that to become a trusted broker, you have to make sure that your exhibitors are also tuned in to your updates. And your updates which take place on either LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, they have to be synchronized together. So the moment any new policy change takes place, make sure you're making it well aware in your website at all. So whoever is developing your website needs to make sure that all relevant content is up to date in the first place. Naturally, then people from your industry will come on your website and they'll see what other events are happening in the future. So by default, it's the fastest way of ensuring that your customer reacquisition cost is at its lowest. Naidu.
I think just to add what Abhay said, your first phase for today's world is your website. But if you really understand how people are consuming the information on the website today, more than 50%, they're not anymore opening on the web browser. Either they're opening that information on the mobile or tablet. So we need to relook at how we are presenting that information. If you need to get that attention to the people who are saying that he's the leader in that or this is the kind of exhibition, these information also has to be compatible to the mobiles and tablets first. Because this very simple concept called responsive design which came up, based on the device which people are opening, it should be readable and very friendly. Then only the people will consume the information. If we don't do, then and there itself, a lot of people says, oh, maybe this is one more website. They won't get that attention. So if you open up any website today in front of you on your mobile phone, is it a readable or a compatible to the mobile devices what you are reading? So this I think the relationship starts from there. The face is that, and at the same time, just having a Facebook page or a LinkedIn page or a Twitter page is not enough. How frequently we are communicating it, even one message a daily is good enough, even if you are able to communicate throughout that conference or throughout that exhibition, which keeps happening it. I think the first and foremost, and there is some concept called SEO, a search engine optimization. And I have not seen some of the sites even not having the basic SEO capabilities. That means when somebody is searching in Google, how can my information will come out on the top page? So I think let's start with the basics of the website, the way we are presenting it, and which is a responsive design, and do the basics of SEO. I think that will start the relationship building and having a continuity, updates on your social media activities.
So I see this very clearly as a three-part process. The first process is that every single person coming to your event, you need to know the guy extremely well. Pick up his email ID, pick up his Twitter handle, pick up his Facebook page, pick up his LinkedIn. You need to have all that information. I've gone for lots and lots of events. Nobody has ever come back to me after the event, ever trying to continue the conversation. So the starting point is when somebody registers, try to pick up all the information about his social presence and what does he do. The second thought is you need to create something like a blog platform. A website is a very, very inside-out approach. It is about me and what I do. Now, as a consumer, I'm not interested in you and what you do. You need to give me something of value to me. So if you create a blog platform where you are regularly putting up information which is about the industry, so suppose you're running an exhibition for the plastic industry, put up information about the latest technological developments, about some market research reports, about economic condition. Maybe get somebody as a speaker to do a web chat every Friday on your page, So try to become like an aggregator of industry information. Become like an enabler. So your conversation continues with those guys between your one event and another, So very clearly, three-step process. One is capture a lot of information. B, try to create like a community portal, which is like your blog. And C, try to engage with people who are industry leaders and get them involved with your blog platform in terms of giving out knowledge and information.
So again, Harish made a couple of good points. One is about the community. You have to build a community. So as an organizer, we realize that as we build the community, we automatically get people engaged on our social media platform. Now, I think even before that, I think the term that was used was being a broker. I think that's one thing you need to change initially. You can't call yourself a broker. You need to be the owner. Once you're the owner of that property, which means the content, the event, whatever, then you're able to attract people. You're able to, let's say, open a blog, discuss about that particular industry, and all of that. So first, I think you can't be the broker in the middle. You need to be the owner and kind of accept all things around it. Second, I think Harish kind of mentioned that you need to have an integrated approach, right, to marketing it. You can't say that you're marketing an event, okay? You can't market an exhibition. What you need to market is why would the people want to come there, right? So to me, it's not that we're marketing that one particular thing, but we're marketing the overall concept, okay? And then last, again, Harish already mentioned building the community. I think very important to build that community.
Thanks, gentlemen. I think two key learnings out of these statements. First one, social media is not a 2-month activity prior to an exhibition. It's a 12-month continuum. I think that's a very important message, which has been stated here. And the second one is social media is closely related to content and feeding industry-relevant content. My question, also as an exhibition organizer, is usually you have a team of, you have an exhibition team where you have salespeople, where you have operations people who are looking after the venues, you have marketing people. Let's assume they're all heavily engaged in preparing the exhibition. Do you have any tips, hints, how you can generate content outside of this core team? Are there ways to engage external parties to feed content? Other ways to generate this content outside of the core team of an exhibition?
So what I would say is, yeah, the content can be generated outside of your core team, right? One, Harish mentioned that you can get experts that give you articles, blogs, et cetera, that you can share with your audience. Even outside of that, as you organize these conferences and exhibitions, a lot of times you have a lot of speakers, just like us on the stage, right? You can ask us to share something. Now, again, that generates more content for you. And as you go event to event, conference to conference, this becomes a process. And so just even outside of the speakers, then there are others that will constantly feed you content.
Yeah, I think there are three key places where you require content. One is like a pre-event, one is during the event, and one is post-event. And believe me, content creation for somebody who runs an exhibition is extremely easy. Okay. So typically, what we do pre-event, and which we did for one of the events, talk to people who are industry leaders, identify 200 CEOs who are really industry leaders, and ask them to write something for you, like a blog. Every CEO wants publicity. Okay, tell him, give us a blog, we'll put up on our website, we'll draw a lot of traffic to it. So suddenly you have the industry actually creating content and giving you content. And that becomes your pre-event content. What do you do during an event? Do something like live tweeting. When you are live tweeting the content of an event, somebody who is not at the event but is still from the industry will start following your content. And then you're selling him your next exhibition right now. So during the event, keep doing your live tweeting, Facebook updates, everything must keep on happening. And what do you do post-event? All the brilliant videos that you take while the event is going on, all the presentations that are put out, all the PhDs that you create, just go and scatter it all over the place. Social or digital media is about creating tons of content and scattering it all over the place, hoping that your potential audience somehow reaches you.
I think just to take from that point, I think it's very important. The whole engagement is divided into three parts: the pre-event, during the event, after the event. And in fact, we have developed a product for that activity to engage the people. Even people not even visited your exhibition know who are all the exhibitions are coming, what companies are exhibiting there. And I can choose who are the companies or the exhibitors whom I would like to visit as a visitor. As an event organizer, as an exhibition organizer, you have to consider the point that your primary important person is also a visitor. So if you drive the whole activity, keeping a visitor also in the mind from the day one, and you also can start giving the necessary information about your exhibitors, even pre-event, and he knows exactly what kind of exhibitors are coming, what products they're coming with. So if you can able to start engaging that information pre-event, and during the event, you can actually do certain contests, certain gamification process to engage the people, and maybe take some pictures, maybe selfies, kind of things when he visited your booth, and continue that engagement after the event. So it is a very, very crucial to do all that. And there is a simple concept in Twitter, most of you know, called hashtag. And if you can identify the relevant hashtags, all the information which happened across the social medias from all the sources, you could see at one place who actually the contributor highestly, how many number of people actually talked about it, one location. There is a couple of products which are available in the internet where you could see the entire engagement using one simple hashtag. Let's say if this hashtag for this event is IEIA, and if you go and search in Twitter, all the people across, anybody is talking about that one topic can be seen it very, very easily. So the entire engagement has to be relevant to the keywords which you wanted so that it is easy to group the information, because social media is very vast, right? How do I see what's happening across the social media? So the best way is tagging that information with a particular hashtag keyword, and you can able to pull that information. So if you can divide that into pre-event, during the event, after the event, and then with the hashtag approach, I think you can able to do a lot more better job on that process.
Michael, more than the how you can put digital content, it's what sort of digital content you're also putting. So here's an exercise which I would request all the trade show guys to do. Identify your top 100 customers and just send them a mail asking them that, tell me who are your main clients you're voting for, who you want them to come for this event. So they'll probably give you a list of 5-10 companies as such. Make this database and just give it to any of these outsourced companies, give it to some of our companies. What we will do is we will search for these target clients online, and whatever news and relevant content is there, maybe some acquisition which has taken place, maybe some new policy change which has taken place, we will include it within your websites. As a result, what happens is that your customer will definitely start coming to your website. At the same time, your customer's customer, who's the main target here, will also start visiting because they get to see a lot of news about themselves. So it all depends on what sort of content am I seeing. If I see content which is relevant to me, I'm definitely coming for the event. So once again, just pick your list of top 50 to 100 customers and ask them, who is it that you want to invite for your next trade show? And then target these guys and then put articles about these people and use, there are a lot of companies out there doing social media. Tap into them and tell them, look, these are the top 100 companies who I want covered on my website. See, ultimately, digital marketing agencies will only do what you want them to do. You cannot tell them, okay, do a Facebook campaign for me without any aim. So the aim should be clear. The aim should be, my customers who are coming for this event, they have to be targeted. And then give them that list. So it's a process where both of us have to work together. That's the fastest way for success.
Thanks. Before I continue asking a couple of more questions, I'm just wondering whether somebody wants to ask a question out of the auditorium. Oh, I see somebody down there. Is there a mic down there?
Yeah. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ankur Agarwal, founder and managing partner for Exhibitions Gallery. So I want to just add some few more points to this discussion when we are talking about creating a content on social media. And as rightly said and discussed in the panel that the entire event has to be divided into pre-event, during the event, and post-event.
Can you just stand up? We can't see you actually, so thanks.
So entire thing can be divided into a pre-event, during the event, and the post-event to create a content around a social media. So the point that I want to add here is that once an organizer starts dealing with the exhibitor, okay, and one thing is they want to bring the exhibitor on board. The moment exhibitors comes on board and they have booked their stalls with the organizers, that's where the engagement to promote the exhibitor starts. And that's where probably from a social media perspective, on their organizers on their Facebook page or on their Twitter page can start putting relevant content, relevant information about the exhibitors. They can start promoting the exhibitors on their Facebook pages. So that's where exhibitor would feel a value that organizer is providing even when the event starts. Now, when we talk about during the event, they can be at the entry gate, there can be some sort of a social media thing like a Facebook, wherein a visitor comes, they just log in, put their selfie, and post it on the social media, so that people who all are his friends, they are able to see that this person has visited this exhibition, which is still going on, and they can come back and, those people can also participate in that exhibition. The third point which I want to make, post-exhibition. So post-exhibition, most of the time, organizer feels that, okay, the exhibition is over, people have gone to their places, my role is over. But the role of organizer is more important once the exhibition is over. And that's where we feel that some sort of a virtual platform should be created from the physical platform, wherein once the exhibition is over, the content of the exhibition is still available on the platform, so that people who could not visit the exhibition, they can still visit it for a certain period of time. So that's where maybe that can add a lot of value to the entire industry. So that's my point.
Anybody else who wants to ask a question right now? Okay. Well, we've learned now a lot about social media campaigns, how to play with content, how to develop the strategy prior to the event, during the event, post-event. One of the crucial questions a lot of exhibition organizers probably going to ask, how much will it cost? So let's assume you have a marketing budget of 10 lakh for the overall campaign which you can spend. So what would you recommend to spend on social media? And how can you measure the output? Maybe we can talk a little bit, or you can cover a little bit the key performance indicators related to social media campaigns.
So again, I can't speak for everybody, but how we look at it is whatever the budget is, right? Our budget for social media is very dynamic. For each city, each type of a conference or exhibition we're doing, we tweak it because I have to, again, like I said, it's a learning process. We kind of see what kind of engagement do we get from the first campaign that we've done, right? So let's say 10 lakh is there. We'll kind of invest, with 25, 30,000 and see what kind of engagement we're getting and see where should we actually build it up compared to some other advertising or other marketing campaigns we're doing and seeing what kind of results we're getting from there. Now, how do we measure the results? Again, this is something that was mentioned before. First, you need to understand what are you targeting, right? What are you going to go after? Are you going out after attendance with that campaign, or are you going after exhibitors for that campaign, or what is the main purpose of that campaign? Once you know the purpose of the campaign, let's say you're talking about attendance, then obviously you know that from every 30,000 that's spent, you want X number of attendees to show up, right? So that is how we would sit down and figure out those key performance indicators. But again, that depends on what you're doing, where you're doing it also, because we see that different cities in India react differently to social media, okay? Very weirdly, in our case, we found that some of the tier 2 cities actually perform much better or deliver much better results on social media for us than a tier 1 or a metro city, okay? So again, I think it depends on where you're doing it and what kind of a conference you're doing or exhibition you're doing and who you're targeting.
There are two quick observations I want to make. So one is in terms of content, and somebody made an example saying that I am an exhibitor, I get somebody on board, I will go and put up a content about who's come on board. I think that's completely the wrong kind of content. Okay, social media is not about you and what you are doing. Social media is trying to create value for the other guy. If I'm running a plastics event and let us say I get a very well-known brand on board who's going to be an exhibitor, the guy coming to the event doesn't want to know who's coming on board. If he's an extruder manufacturer, put up content about upcoming extruder technologies. Okay, talk about how extrusion can make a difference to your business. In social media, the operative word is social, it is not media. And what is the meaning of the word social? Be nice, be friendly, be helpful. The one place brands go completely wrong is they take it like print media. Let's put one ad after another after another. Consumer doesn't want it. With the cross of a button, he will kill your Facebook page. So your content has to create value for the other guy. Think of who's your participant and what content will create value for them. They will receive that content. When they receive the content, engagement starts. Okay? So please be very clear the kind of content you're putting up. Most social digital communications go haywire because you don't get your content right. The second thought is, if you had 10 lakh rupees, how much money should you put into digital social? My thought is a substantial part should go into digital social. Mind you, social or digital is not cheap, okay? I disagree it is cheap. It is cost effective. In an exhibition kind of a business, you are targeting a certain kind of people from a certain kind of industry for a certain kind of geography. You are actually looking for needles in a haystack. And no better platform than a LinkedIn or a Facebook to help deliver those needles to you. Okay? No other medium can do this kind of targeted communication. So it is expensive, but it is extremely cost effective.
Yeah, I agree to that point, the cost effective thing. But the good point in this is you can exactly target the audience whom you are looking for based on the previous visitors or the existing visitor. And you can also measure how many people actually came because of my view from Facebook or Twitter by creating different codes where you can measure also maybe when they are coming it, maybe if you bring this code or this receipt or this offer, what we have publicized on that, maybe they have a free entry or maybe some free gift, some kind of, you can also still measure exactly who came from what places. And there is also another concept called retargeting. Let's say one customer visited your website, and you can also see when even if he goes outside of your website also, you can still target, hey, there is still an exhibition happening or certain information. So you can also target exactly the right customer on the process. So that is the one good thing which has it. To answer the exact question, I would start with around 15% as the marketing budget. It is just not putting the money. You need to fine tune the campaign, what you are doing, and make sure is it working or not. How many people are seeing, what kind of people are seeing. So what kind of demographics are seeing this one. So it's a very targeted one, you have to do it. But I would recommend to start with 10-15%. And if it starts working and you also need to understand how that system is working, then slowly you can start increasing the budget to 40 to 50%. That is what my recommendation on that.
Great points. One thing which I want to say is that all you organizers need to be patient. So you'll have to look at it from a 3-year timeline at least. You cannot say that, I'm having an event next month and I will evaluate your success based on that sole event. That's being very you're trying to be very lucky with the whole thing, that if you think that one instance of marketing is enough for your brand to be known, it won't be. Try to understand that social media is, it's not something which next day itself you see results. It develops over time. The advantage of the social media part is that you can measure the results instantly. So it's not like a print campaign which you sort of do and then you see after maybe 3 to 4 weeks whether the impact took place. Here what you're doing, like Hari said, that it's very targeted, needle in a haystack approach. Now, with regards to the amount of budget you should allocate, see, a decent sort of marketing campaign should cost anywhere between maybe 75,000 to maybe 2 lakhs. It depends on the outcome. So, rather than looking at it in absolute numbers, think of it this way. By what margin do you want to grow your revenues? By what percentage do you want to grow your revenues? That should be the percentage you should allocate to digital marketing spends. So let's say if you want to say that I want to grow it by 10%, try allocating 10% of the entire budget on digital media. And unlike, the convention wisdom which says do social media in the end, I would say start with social media first. Because to create the brand, to create an organic brand, so that you're not just paying for ads, but people, by curiosity, are coming onto your website, make sure that social media starts first. It's very cost effective, like Hari said, because you can immediately measure. So if I carried out a Google campaign, or let's say I did a sort of a Facebook campaign, was I able to attract my target audience? And this has to work in sync with the other traditional media. You can't just say, I will replace traditional media with social. So you need to have your telecallers as well. You need to have your brochures sent out. You cannot just one fine day say, okay, enough of this traditional media, let's go digital. The idea is use this tool with other tools as well, but make sure that everything is synchronized. So the moment you get some leads, have your telecallers calling them as well. Because ultimately, you cannot rely on one or the other. It has to be a combined approach. So to summarize, somewhere around maybe 1.5 to 2 lakhs is the upper side which you're looking at for maybe 3 months of marketing.
Thanks a lot. So as we are now in the operational business, I guess there are probably a couple of questions. Yeah.
Hello. I am from Indore, Infoline Indore. We are the exhibition organizer in 4 cities, B-class cities, Indore, Raipur, Nagpur, and Jamshedpur. Can you highlight some other aspects of upcoming technology like WhatsApp and SMS? Because I think most of the times people don't have the access to Facebook, Twitter, and other things because of non-availability or because the targeted customers usually don't sit in front of computers, like CEOs and directors and MDs of the companies that don't spend much time on spoiling their time on Facebook for reading your contents. So now the best upcoming digital marketing media can be WhatsApp and SMS. So can you highlight some of the better ways of communicating through SMS and WhatsApp? And other like WeChat and other things which are coming up. Thank you.
So sir, to start with, I disagree with your opinion that CEOs are not sitting in front of LinkedIn or Facebook. I think they are all there. A lot of access is happening actually from mobile phones. A lot of people are accessing social networks from mobile phones. WhatsApp is a very close group for marketing. Unless you have a huge bunch of volunteers who are willing to put content for you, getting content moving in WhatsApp is going to be very, very challenging. So if you're seriously trying to build a brand, you must look at a platform like LinkedIn and Facebook. My recommendation to you is to go back and look at the kind of target audience you're talking to, actually do a poll. Maybe you'll be surprised how many of them use LinkedIn very actively.
Just one more point. The problem with SMS is you don't know the response. See, you'll just send a message out, you'll say, come to our show, over 200 exhibitors, 5,000 visitors, but then what? The reason why we enunciate and we stress upon the fact that use LinkedIn, use Facebook, is the fact that social, like he said, is two-way. It cannot be one way. So you cannot just say, I sent you all the messages, but why didn't you come for my event? It may create awareness, but it is no guarantee of actual visits to your stall.
Just to add one point, so you could actually combine all the tools in such a way that, for example, let's say you have sent an email. You could also track whether this person opened or not. right? There are technologies which actually tells how many times opened, when he opened, technologies like that. Let's say if the person is not opened the mail, probably if you have the SMS, you could also automate the entire process in such a way that, okay, after I will wait 1 day, if the person doesn't open the email, I will now send them an SMS. So you could actually combine multiple strategies in such a way that you could actually target the right audience. Maybe this person is busy not opening the email. Maybe you can target them on the SMS. Or he might be he visited once your site, but he's not recently came, but he's looking at other sites. You can actually do a retargeting campaigns and other platforms also. So you have to combine multiple strategies and then work on it. It's not just one area, what I feel.
I think it was a valid point which has been raised before about how to structure the campaign and about SMS and WhatsApp. Just to provide you with one statistic figure, right now in India, around about 12% of the population are using social networks, which is, when I see it in an absolute number, of course, a great number. When I compare it with China, say a similar size of the country population, 45% of the people are using social networks. So 2 questions. What is the reason for that, the difference? And the second question, do you think that's a barrier to run a successful social media campaign in India?
So again, those numbers are obviously percentages, right? So if we start looking at absolute numbers, that's a large number first. Yes, compared to China, we're definitely lower on the penetration of social media as well as internet, et cetera. But it's been growing substantially, some 30–35% annually that it looks to grow. Now, does that stop you or does that hinder your social media marketing? I don't think it does. You still have an audience. And plus, if you look at who those people are, that 13% or whatever number that is, who those people are, those are the people you're going after anyway. Okay? You're not going after the 80-something% today anyway, right? So I don't think it hinders you. It actually works well because those are very engaged audience. And like somebody mentioned that, and Harish's point that CEOs are not on their laptops. That's probably true. The CEOs are not on their laptops or on their PCs, but they definitely have a smartphone in their hand, okay? Some of them have multiple smartphones in their hand, and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and everything they're connected with. We've found in even tier 2 cities, like I shared, we did much better in tier 2 cities in social media because we found that the audience had the time also in tier 2 cities to actually engage on social media, because that was another big factor, right? In larger cities, you don't have time. You spend time traveling, commuting, so you probably don't have time. But in tier 2s, you actually do have that time, so.
There's a quick observation I want to make here, One of our clients did a research on how people are downloading apps like Facebook and LinkedIn, etc. And they found that people from tier 2 cities are downloading these apps far more than they do from tier 1 cities. And the reason is if I'm living in Bombay, I have lots and lots of networking opportunities. There are events and seminars and something happening. But if I'm living in a Raipur, okay, my Facebook profile or my LinkedIn profile actually is my gateway to the world. So I'm really very possessive about it. So the amount of time basically spent on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter actually is far more from tier 2 cities compared to tier 1 cities.
Just one point which I'd like to highlight regarding the whole experience of digital media. See, just as you expect a social media campaign to drive results, you have to also remember that the entire experience is complete only if they are having access to social media even at the venue. And for that, you need to have a faster internet connection at venues. So the general perception in Bombay, Delhi, everywhere is that there is a lot of internet problems there. So if you're expecting digital marketing to do its bit, you have to make sure that the experience is full. Make sure that your venues are also having Wi-Fi. It's roti, kapda, makan, and Wi-Fi are the 4 essential things which are needed in today's world. And one other thing is, I think organizers also need to work with the venue organizers. So the venue event like BIEC or HITEX, you guys need to capture as much of data as possible so that you're able to share this with event organizers as well. Right now, we are working with Bombay Exhibition Center and we're developing the Nesco app. This app will basically capture information about whoever is visiting the venue. And then this can be shared with the exhibitors as well, so that they get more and more people on board. So that's just what I want to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Yes, excuse me. My name is Lieutenant Bikram. I'm from Exhibitions and Events. The specific aspect which needs to be covered here, actually we are supposed to be discussing as well about the internet and social media. Social media seems to be dominating this entire conversation. Could you focus a little more on the internet itself? Because there would be a certain relevance or a certain amount of correlation between industries and internet or social media, and the right manner to go about it. So could you enlighten us a little bit about that?
One of the topic we mentioned, when we talk about the internet, the first phase is the website itself, and the entire activities on SEO related, Google, search friendly, and the basic website is a responsive design. All that will also part of the internet, and including the email marketing, all will come under part of the internet technologies. And this comes under the bigger world of digital marketing, right? The social media and email marketing, every part of it, our website, our responsiveness, and our ads, our search engine, all parts of the digital marketing in a bigger world. And if you are taking care of all this in the bigger digital marketing world, and all these are all part of that, in what I feel, yeah.
So just another point on the internet, right? So we talked about blogs, we talked about building a community, all that, that's all internet related, right? That's not just social media. That's an overall strategy, right? You need to, the whole concept with internet, social media, whatever we're talking about, is how do you engage that audience, right? So is it through mailers, the emailers that they're referring to, your website, your app, your blog, whatever, social media, they're all integrated together. And this is what I was referring to, that the approach has to be integrated. It's across the whole platform, the whole internet platform, if you want to call it. So all the points that we're making, I think they apply across the internet. They're not just very social media oriented.
Just the last bit, do you believe that this is an entirely generic solution that you guys are providing, or is it specific to certain industries? And would it have a certain kind of different character for different industries? For example, in your consumer base, or if it would be, say, heavy industries, there ought to be some kind of variation. And do you have any data regarding this that you could help us with?
Yeah, so in case of digital or social, there is no concept of one size fits all. It's all about let's make a TVC, let's put it on some television and something will happen. Solutions have to be built not only industry specific, but brand specific. Two brands exactly in the same industry may require a different kind of solution. So what will work for you? Will emailers work for you? Will website work for you? Will Google SCM work for you? Will banner ads work for you? Is Quora the way to go? Is Pinterest the way to go? It will be very, very specific to your business and brand. So if you really want to understand, you have to find somebody who can give you that guidance and then help you plan a strategy. There is no concept of generic solution. What we are discussing is approaches, what all can basically happen. So there is social media at your disposal, there is email marketing at your disposal, there is Google communication, there is website ads, plenty of things at your disposal. But the solution will need to be very specific for your business and your target audience.
Just one last point which I wanted to make. Yeah, I agree with Bikram's question about, industry specific. We have observed that, yes, healthcare companies or healthcare industry is far more tech savvy compared to a conventional industry, maybe in the mining space or maybe in the manufacturing space. We've done events for both. What we would rather focus on is how do you attract, so the methodology, like he said, if you're going for a mining or a traditional industry, rely more on emailers, rely less on sort of social media. But the converse is true with healthcare, because the healthcare, if you just see the number of associations, conferences and events taking place, as it is, these guys are really social. So engage more on social media budget than email campaigns for healthcare, but vice versa for manufacturing. It all depends on the evolution of the industry when it comes to technology adoption.
Hi, this is Harsh from Fairfest. Being an organizer, we have customers in two parts. One is the exhibitors and the other one is the trade visitor. So the content has to be very specific and targeted. So how do we really, send targeted messages to exhibitors and consumers, as in the visitors. Do we need to have two separate pages on Facebook and LinkedIn, or how do we segregate it? And the second part of the question is, how do we really build the audience? As in, we are putting a lot of content on these social media, but then how do we pull in the likes and fans to our pages when there are multiple events on the same theme across the world, and the targeted consumers or the exhibitors are the from the same list.
So in my opinion, there are not just two set of people you're targeting, not just the exhibitor as well as the participant. There are far more sets. Even in the participant, what the SME guy requires is very different compared to what the purchase manager of a large company requires, which is very different compared to what the CEO requires. So different kinds of participants will also require different kinds of content to actually make sense. Okay, and then the power of digital is this ability to slice and dice, saying these are the 20 types of people I want to talk to, and for each type, what kind of content will make sense. Second question, if you're running a Facebook page, Facebook allows you to ensure that certain content gets shown only to certain people. So if you put up an update, it will not go to everybody. Okay, you can actually focusing that this update goes only to this guy. If you put update on LinkedIn, this goes only to this guy. So the whole power of the medium is create multiple kinds of content, be sure content creates value for the receiver, and target your content very, very actively.
How do we know who is an exhibitor and who is a visitor? I mean,
Based on the interest of the person, how they update their profile, you could actually target those activities nowadays. There are ways you can able to go to the level of the interest of a profile, and you can able to target that. That is one suggestion there. In today's world, I think, a couple of years back, the number of likes, number of fans was the most important thing. Today is all about not anymore the number. It's not that even if you have 1,000 members, but if they are engaging with you, they are conversing with you, that is far more important than I have 10,000 people who doesn't, just be there, but they don't even write or talk about with you. I think it's all, the gear is shifting towards engagement rather than the number of likes and, fans.
See, one problem which our customers, usually event organizers, feel is what content to put. I think that must be one of your concerns as well, right? So what is the content I should put? There are a lot of tools online which are available for free. Now, you can try out one of them. It's called Hootsuite, Hootsuite. What Hootsuite does is you can type the industry from which your exhibition is being held, healthcare, and it will list down all the possible articles which are there in today's world, from various sources, from various media. All you need to do is just take those articles and put it on your website. Now, with regards to having two separate identities, a Facebook page and a website, what you should ideally do is have your website having its Facebook and Twitter page integrated, so that when you want to update something, all you need to do is update it on the Facebook page or the Twitter page. Automatically, your website looks fresh as well. So it's not that you need to then, again go back to your web developer and tell them, listen, I need to add this content. You can make your site dynamic by it's called a plugin. So all you need to do is plug in Facebook's API and Twitter's API onto your website. Whatever you type on social media then also comes on your website. And by default, I think Google also then ranks your page much higher when anyone is typing for that particular page.
So just just last point on his question. So just, like everybody's saying. So one is obviously technically, Naidu kind of pointed out that you can choose the different interests to kind of identify who your audience is, right? The second is obviously, to me, it's a time process, right? Because as generally, we start everything as a general thing and see where people are engaging or are asking their questions about. And now we start segregating that audience into somebody that might be an exhibition potential, or somebody that might be an attendee potential, or something else, whatever the different criterias are. But we usually start at one place, then kind of funnel it down. Usually we don't try to imagine that we would know, even by the interest, everything about that person, right? So usually, and we're surprised at times that we get an exhibitor from somebody that actually looks like an attendee, okay? So usually we make that funnel, start the funnel, and kind of filter down who fits into what kind of a profile later.
Commander AGP Singh from Exhibitions and Events. A small question. Would there be a difference in the way you use digital marketing if it is a B2B exhibition or a B2C exhibition?
One word answer.
You can use this one.
Yeah, so the one word answer is absolutely.
It's completely targeted based on what you are targeting. So it's a B2C, the way the approach you take is completely different from B2B.
True.
Excuse me. Yeah. I'm architect SP Anchuri. I'm chairman of Indian Concrete Institute and vice president for Indian Association of Structural Engineers. Now, long back when we started this organizing conferences and seminars and workshops, we used to have some sponsors and some part of exhibition and all. So, but slowly when we went for international evening events and all, then we had tie-ups with MOUs with the other organizations, like maybe case specific or in general. So, in case of concrete, those who are taking care of concrete expos, we entered into MOU. But what was happening is when we were having a limited, only conference and small exhibition, we used to take help of media partners. Media partners in the sense of the related magazines, e-books and all. So it used to reach about lakh or 1 lakh plus. But when we entered into MOUs with the international exhibitors, definitely our scope and our conference size and our know-how increased. But what I feel is the target audience or target exhibitors, still it is to be worked out nicely, and we need some time with the exhibitors, because as a professional in that field, I may be having a technical conference in a proper way, but not in an exhibition. But still, in India, what I feel is it takes, we need to work a little more towards the coordination and understanding of institution and then exhibitors, which is important. Because exhibition only on that particular subject, if they go, and if conference goes, isolated, I think it's not working out. But we need to have still do much exercise to have cooperation amongst the professionals and then professional in the exhibition. Your comments on that?
Over there, another question.
I'm Ankur once again. So we were talking about digital social media marketing and all, and I think one of my colleagues pointed out why we are not talking about internet. And then we said that internet and social media marketing are probably one and the same thing, and it's like one thing. But maybe there's a different view to it, and maybe if the panel can highlight more on the same. So it's all about purchasing the ad inventory on the websites. I think that is something we can also talk about. Because if a person is looking, let's say this person is looking about certain machinery, he's searching for a certain machinery on Google. Okay, so at that point of time, when he opens that machinery page, the advertisement of that exhibition, which is dealing in machinery, can be posted on that website, and he can get to know, okay, this exhibition is going to deal in it, and I think I can go and visit there and probably get more information about different machineries. So probably I think if we can highlight more on that area as well, that would add probably a lot of value to this discussion.
So the first gentleman, the comment to your response was that yes, you need to engage with your exhibitors, engage with them year long. Cost-effective way is using some sort of Facebook or LinkedIn page. The problem is you need to have relevant content for them. Every time your people go to them, first of all, make sure that direct marketing is happening as well. Your salespeople go to them once every quarter just to find out what's going on. With regards to your point, I think you're talking about what Naidu was saying, retargeting. So wherein ad space is purchased, and then you flash those. It's like how Make My Trip, you see those ads even after you close the browser. The point is, yes, ad inventory is important, but that is not relevant to the event organizer. That is relevant to the agency which they plan to outsource it to. Because how do we sort of effectively manage that cost is something which we look at constantly and which we sort of purchase space. What you all need to focus on as event organizers is the quality and the type of people who you want to highlight. The more you all tell us about it, the better we can sort of perform and give you an ideal solution.
Any more questions? So, as I was told to come to a sharp end, in order not to further delay our agenda for today, I'm just like to summarize, or just a quick statement on what we have discussed today. I think that social media and internet-related activities offer great opportunities, but they have to be planned thoroughly, otherwise they might fail as well. So I think having these gentlemen here today, I really would like to recommend to use this opportunity, speak with them. They will be here afterwards for the coffee break and also in the afternoon, as far as I have heard. Use this opportunity and get in contact with these subject matter experts, because it's really a techy topic. It offers a lot of opportunities, and thank you very much for being here on the panel, for all your valuable input. And so thanks also to the auditorium for the questions, and